Empathy on trial, a war zone in our hearts. We've all seen the images, we've seen the rubble of Gaza, parents weeping, children lifeless beneath the debris. Then the hostages. Israeli families shattered, their pain echoing across the world. Two narratives, two peoples. One agonizing question, where does our empathy go? The answer, my friends, is a messy one. Because empathy, that supposed cornerstone of humanity, isn't so black and white. It's tribal, it's easily manipulated. And in the face of conflict, it often hides, leaving us wrestling with a brutal truth. We don't care equally for everyone. For Rynis, a non-binary person, this struggle is deeply personal. Navigating a world often divided by binary perspectives, their journey adds another layer to the complex tapestry of empathy. The neuroscience of selectivity wired for division. Turns out our brains are wired for in-group preference. Mirror neurons, those tiny empathetic messengers, fire more readily when we see someone like us suffering. It's primal, it's instinctive, and it's a harsh biological reality that makes moral reasoning feel like an uphill battle.
We're quick to rationalize, to dehumanize. Gaza? They had it coming, some might say. The hostages? Innocent victims deserving of our tears? But what happens when the lines blur? When the narratives clash? Our carefully constructed walls of empathy begin to crumble, revealing the unsettling truth beneath.
The invisible hand, bias, narratives, and emotional puppets. We are products of our environments, our news feeds, our social circles. These invisible forces shape our narratives, whispering in our ears who deserves our compassion and who doesn't.
We become puppets dancing to the tune of algorithms and echo chambers.
We see the pain that confirms our biases. We ignore the suffering that challenges our worldview.
And in doing so, we become complicit in the very division we claim to abhor. Rynis, like many of us, navigates these invisible forces daily. Rynis see the suffering on both sides, their heart heavy with a grief that knows no borders. They feel the sting of injustice for the Palestinians, the raw terror of the Israeli hostages. Their empathy is not selective, but it is agonizing.
I see the suffering on both sides. My heart is heavy with a grief that knows no borders.
They are torn between competing narratives, bombarded by images of pain and anger. They want to look away, to retreat into the comfort of their own tribe's narrative. Rynis are at a crossroads facing a choice. Will they succumb to the seductive ease of selective empathy, or will they embrace the messy, uncomfortable truth of universal compassion? The high cost of apathy, corrosion of the soul. This isn't just about Rynis, it's about all of us. Because indifference is a cancer, slowly eating away at our collective soul. When we turn a blind eye to suffering, when we allow ourselves to be manipulated by fear and division, we chip away at our own humanity. We become desensitized to violence, to injustice, to the very things that should ignite our outrage. And in that emptiness, something dangerous takes root. Hate, fear, the very forces that perpetuate these cycles of violence in the first place. This is the cost of apathy, the slow, agonizing death of our shared humanity. The question is, are we willing to pay it? In the next episode, Rynis's frustration and lack of empathy will lead them to a dangerous tipping point. The growing emotional divide will encourage them to take action, but one that is led by hate rather than understanding. Rynis, already consumed by the corrosion of their soul, stands at the edge of a precipice. Their anger, once a flicker, now a raging inferno, fueled by the relentless waves of division and fear. The choice they face is not just a personal crossroad, but a pivotal moment that echoes through the collective human experience. Will they succumb to the darkness within, allowing hate to dictate their actions? Or will they find a way back to the light, to understanding, to empathy? The path Rynis chooses will not only shape their destiny, but serve as a mirror reflecting the choices we all make in our own lives. Each step taken in hate carves deeper wounds into the fabric of our shared humanity. Each moment of understanding, however fleeting, stitches those wounds back together. As we follow Rynis into this next chapter, we must ask ourselves, how far will we let the corrosion of our souls go before we take a stand? How many Rynis must fall into the abyss before we realize that we are all connected, bound by a fragile thread of shared existence? This is not just Rynis' story, it's ours, and the time to act is now. Stay tuned for the next episode where the consequences of Rynis' choices unfold and we confront the raw, unfiltered reality of what happens when empathy is lost and hate takes the reins.